And so, to a great extent, as a church, and I'm not just talking about my church, but churches, God's people, right? We need to go back into prayer. And I can promise all of you, in fact, the two videos we have today are all based on prayer, because I know that's what God is saying to this church, and not just to this church alone, but the churches in general. Come back into prayer. Right? Come back into prayer. And I'm not talking about prayer, confessing, Lord, God, you're going to bless my day. God, you're going to give me this. You're going to give me a car, a new car, Lord. And I'm talking about prayer that is moved for others, completely separate from yourself. Prayer that when you see a shensia, tears begin to flow from your eyes. You know, I have so many testimonies that I've read in recent time, and I'm gonna share one. I actually shared it with somebody. I think I shared it with the stewards. It's about this guy, this gentleman, and God used him to start a global prayer movement, because this is the last day, guys. This is it, right? Triggered it, and it's really resonating across the globe. And he said he was driving through a town. I think it was in Czechoslovakia. And there is a particular town there that is just given over to prostitution. So you're driving and you see women basically in skimpy bikinis by the side of the road selling. Some are in houses, some by the side of the road, multitudes of them, because that's what that particular town is known for, right? That's their trade. So anybody anywhere, you want that, international or national, you go there. And he said, he and his wife, he said the place felt filthy. When they entered the town, they didn't know about it before. They were just driving through. When they entered it, they sensed in their spirit the filth. He said he suddenly came upon one particular um, prostitute, but there was something different about this one. Some of the proportions looked a little off, and he was wondering what was it about this particular individual. But he said as he passed her and he looked in her face, he said, oh my goodness, it's a little girl about 12 years old. He said they continued on their journey, and he said, we should have stopped. We should have stopped for that girl and talked to her. But when you're second guessing yourself, and um when he couldn't hold it in any longer, they stopped, turned around, went to a shop, bought chocolates and ice cream, because they said, we're going to engage this young girl. We're going to tell her about God and show her the love of God. And you know something? When they reached, she wasn't there. She had gone. Probably somebody came and hired her, right? But there were two others across the road, and they went to those two. They gave them the chocolate, the ice cream, and I mean, these people, it's Europe, this, they don't know about Jesus, and there was no common language between them, by the way. So he was pointing up, saying Jesus, trying, and they managed to communicate with them, gave them the chocolate and the ice cream, because he wanted them to have a sense of value. Now, listen, our Jamaican church brethren, we are too locked in our four walls. This is not us, We really have lost all of that. We've lost it, right? And we've lost a lot of other things as well. How many of us engage the prostitutes, the guys on the side? How many of us? And so I am saying to you, how many of us engage a single mother who is struggling to raise a little boy who is going to grow up and turn a gunman? How many of us? How many of us, engage a little child of 4 or 5, and you can see already that what's going to happen to that child if nobody engages that child is trouble. How many of us give that little child a sense of worth? How many of us stop for that child? And I know Mama Heidi has a little saying, stop for the one, stop for the one. And even in the church, the pastors have become big pastors. Everybody's a big pastor. Everybody has a crowd they're preaching to. But when we don't see the little ones out there. So we need to take like a 180-degree turn in our lives, right? And begin to look again and begin to engage the power and grace of God and the love of God, the power, grace, and love of God to bring the necessary transformation. And we need to engage these things through prayer and the word until change comes to our nation.